The legend of an upright, hairy ape man is well known around the globe, with hundreds of sightings and reports made every year. The dense forests of the world are said to be home to the elusive creature known as Yeti in the Himalayas, and of course, Bigfoot in North America. It is a surprise to many that some of these beasts have also been sighted in one of the most unlikely of places and goes by a different name, the Woodwose of Great Britain. Ever since I first saw images of the infamous Patterson-Gimlin film at 7 years old, I have read and researched everything I could on the subject of Bigfoot. However, only within the last year did I become aware Great Britain has its own legendary hairy man known as the Woodwose. Reports of this peculiar relative of the Bigfoot come from all corners of the nation, with most sightings taking place in or within close proximity to forests or woodlands. One man from Cornwall in the southwest of England recounts, whilst out building cages for pheasant hunts in a thickly wooded area, he would hear strange knocks coming from the woods. On one occasion he was left alone. As he waited for his boss to return to pick him up, he heard rustling in the bushes behind him. At first he was unable to see anything, but gradually his eyes focused on a face watching him from the foliage. The man bravely stepped closer to get a better look, and as he did, the creature stood up. He described it as a male, maybe 6'5", and a kind of copper colour. At the sound of his boss's vehicle returning, the creature took off like a shot. The man asked his boss if anyone had said anything about a Bigfoot in the area before. The boss responded, "Oh yes, we call them Woodwose here. Just leave them be." A place known for its eerie atmosphere and strange sightings is the Cairngorms National Park in Scotland. Here the big grey man of Ben Macdui is said to dwell. The first recorded account of the grey man came in 1925 from well-respected scientist and explorer J. Norman Colley. Colley described hearing something other than his own footsteps as he descended the mountain. Every few steps he would hear a crunch, then another crunch, as if someone was walking after him but taking steps 3 or 4 times the length of his own. He would stop and listen, but could see nothing in the mist. As he walked on and the eerie crunch, crunch sounded behind him, he was seized with terror and took to his heels. In 2004, it was reported that a man named Thomas Robertson was rescued from the mountain. Robertson claimed he was attacked in his tent by a 12-foot Yeti-like creature. The beast crushed the tent and even stood on Robertson's foot, bruising his toes. Robertson said he didn't know what it was, but it was not human. He thought it may have been the Grey Man or something from outer space. Cannock Chase Forest in Staffordshire, Thetford Forest in Norfolk, Sherwood Forest in Nottinghamshire, the Medway area in Kent, Galloway and Kielder forests in Scotland, and the many forests of Wales all have their own stories of wild, hairy creatures often described as half ape, half man. So what could this all mean? Is there actually an undiscovered primate walking through the remote parts of Britain? Surely, if there were, we would have heard about it more often, had more sightings and seen more evidence, especially as Britain is so heavily populated. Surprisingly, urban areas in the UK only represent an estimated 8% of the total land area. The vast majority of the population live in towns and cities far from the remote areas these creatures are said to inhabit. Even so, it is a real stretch for most of us to accept that there are Bigfoots, or Woodwose, living in this green and pleasant land. So where is the evidence? The Woodwose's American cousin, the Sasquatch, leaves behind huge footprints on a regular basis, ready to be cast in plaster. Why not the same in Britain? The answer could be as simple as the fact that no one is looking for them. Maybe we don't see evidence because we are just not aware of it and ignore all the signs. In fact, a lot of Woodwose incidents may be written off as another paranormal phenomenon. Ghosts. British people quite often explain things away as ghostly. A small woodland in Kent called Deering Woods, also known as the Screaming Woods, is said to be the most haunted woodland in Britain. Many people have described hearing whoops, screams and whistles or seen a shadowy figure as they walk through the woods. All these events are common behaviours described in American Bigfoot encounters. What about historical evidence? Native Americans have a rich history and understanding of Sasquatch. Why not Britain? Funnily enough, we do have a long history of hairy wild men in Britain. If you attend certain churches, you may recognise depictions of the Green Man carved into the ceilings. They show the face of a wild man covered in foliage. These date back centuries, with the true origins still a mystery. Every year, Hastings in Kent holds the Jack in the Green Festival, with a parade of people painted green and dressed in leaves. The parade culminates in the procession of a large bush with a man-like face peering out of the foliage. Could the origins of these traditional images be from ancient encounters with a woodwose? A number of modern reports describe an ape-like face watching them through the foliage, and even using leaves or grass as a sort of camouflaging mask. Britain also has a huge selection of fairy tales, where people have run-ins with giants and other magical forest creatures, such as boggarts or trolls. Could these also point towards a history of humans interacting with the woodwose or Bigfoots? Hard proof is yet to be forthcoming, but with so many witnesses coming forward each year, it may only be a matter of time before we know more. If you have had an encounter with an unusual creature such as a Bigfoot in the forests of Britain, I highly recommend you report your sighting. There are many supportive groups, such as the Bigfoot Research Team UK, that will respectfully record your encounter and keep any details confidential.